Welcome back to this very special edition of Hallmark Heroes. Our next hero knows that sometimes caregiving for a parent can be an uphill battle, but she shows us that tender and loving humor can considerably lighten the burden.
When people first hear this diagnosis, they think they're facing a huge tragedy. I'm trying to change that.
Before my mom died, she was a really vibrant personality, and my dad kind of stood in the wings. He worked on Wall Street when I was young, so we didn't really get to know my dad that well.
Times were different back then. Then I was always working and trying to provide for my family.
In 2004, my mom passed away and left me this wonderful gift, which is my father. When he came to live here, you know, I was 34, my dad was 76. I learned to know my dad. I bet you're glad you're not on Wall Street anymore. Not with that big mess going on.
I'm very glad. Oh, boy. I can't imagine being anywhere else but here. I'll tell you, the nursing home would not be the place I'd want to be. Well, I was born in Washington, D.C. in 1928. I did grow up in the New Brunswick area near Rutgers. When I retired, I came down to North Carolina and have enjoyed every minute of it.
I didn't really know much about Alzheimer's disease. I just knew, you know, President Reagan had it.
When my dad was diagnosed, he was getting lost in his car. He wasn't feeding his dog. He wasn't changing his clothes every day, things like that. So we just knew that there's some serious problems.
And so I went to the internet, pulled up a few blogs, and it was really kind of depressing because I thought, he's going to forget me, he's going to stop being able to talk, he's going to stop being able to eat. And the real life experience that I was having with my dad at that time didn't mirror that. And so I felt like there was a real lack of people looking at the bright side.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else you need? Pretty young girl?
All right. Bring in two.
Drinks or girls?
Girls.
And so I thought, wouldn't it be nice to share the lighter side with the caregivers, because sometimes they're just at the end of the rope. And so I decided to do knowitalls.com to be able to go onto the internet every day and see somebody who's walking the same journey that they're walking. You know, their parent may be better off, their parent may be worse off, but we're all going through the same thing. It's really nice to know that Know It Alls is really helping people.
I logged on to Know It All and found that it was full of love and humor.
There are so many funny things that happen when people don't remember what they've done or where they've been or what's going on.
Carl needs a cup.
Any alcohol in it? No?
This is my future ex-husband, Carl.
Yeah.
How much she pay you for that?
For example, my dad doesn't like to get up early. So the night before, I sneak into his room, I steal his watch, I change it ahead 2 hours. When he wakes up in the morning and he goes, oh goodness, it's noon, he feels like it's time to get up. Or you wake up in the morning and you get into the shower and there's a jar of peanut butter sitting on the shower seat and you just wonder what happened after I went to bed. You just want people to see it's not a death sentence for you.
No, you're helping me in my old age.
How about
That's so sweet of you. You're such a doll, baby.
I know that I'm touching thousands every month by showing the lighter side.
Sometimes Mom doesn't realize that I'm her daughter, but then I got to realize it's part of the disease, and you just have to put on a thick skin and just grin and bear it and go on and be grateful for what she can do and what she can remember. Once my mom got her diagnosis, I decided to join a support group, and that's how I found out about Know It Alls. The first time I read it, I was hooked. She's got the meat and potatoes out there, you know, if you really want to get into learning about the stuff. And then she's got the light-sided humor that she deals with on a daily basis. And I've not found another website that covers everything like that. And so I have just found it to be a great stress reliever and ways to get good ideas in dealing and handling my mother.
Pretty good to be 84 years old.
I think so, too, tell you the truth.
Well, I'm very excited about getting to meet Kathy. I want to thank her for starting this blog. I think it's a wonderful tool for people that are just starting out. People have already been there, people who are going through it.
Clara? Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Tell me about your mom.
Well, my mom was diagnosed in 2006. My daughter looks after her during the day, and then I stay with her at night.
It's so hard to balance work with a caregiver, and you're so lucky that you got your daughters.
It's so nice for me to have found a friend that, you know, is walking through the same journey that I'm walking through.
A lot of times when I'm dealing with a difficult situation with her, a lot of people say, well, what would Jesus do? And I go, well, what would Kathy do? You know, and it gives me a different... I think Kathy can really educate people that, yes, this is a terrible disease, but it doesn't have to be.
I think it helps me be a better caregiver because it forces me to think of something funny every day. And there's some days when there's just nothing funny.
I know.
But I know you know.
You know, when I'm doing the blog, some days I'm not inspired to do it, but meeting somebody like Clara that reads it every day and hangs on my every word, you know, and it helps her find the humor in a very humorless situation.
The biggest thing Kathy brings to the table is hope. You know, caregiving is a very stressful, hard job, but she's shown that you can do it and still maintain your own sense of sanity.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The most important thing to me is to preserve my dad's dignity. I don't want him to ever feel like he's any less of a person because he has this disease. They just need a little mental stimulation. They need to keep laughing, they need to keep singing, they need to keep playing games and gardening and all the things that they do, because when Alzheimer's sets in the worst is when they're sitting around by themselves staring out the window.
Kathy is absolutely the best. She's just been wonderful to me, and ever since her mother passed, it's just been great for me to have someone like Kathy. Yeah.
He lived a great life. He had a great 40-year marriage with my mom, which I'm inspired by. It's not me. My dad did a great thing. My dad raised me to be the kind of person that would take him in. My hero.
That's a lovely story, Kathy, really. How's your dad feeling now?
He's doing great, Regis. Thanks for asking. I really feel like him living in a home environment and getting mental stimulation, physical exercise, along with the medications that he takes, has really helped to retard the disease.
Sure. Does he appreciate your humor?
Oh, he does, and he has an exceptional sense of humor himself.
And it keeps his mind active, and that stimulates it.
Absolutely. He can still do the New York Times crossword puzzle.
Good for him.
I can't do it, but he sure can.
Tell us about your idea for an almost home situation.
It's sort of a middle step between living at home and living in an Alzheimer's type facility. What we wanted to do with the Almost Home group is to make a place for these people that's in the middle, where they get physical exercise and mental exercise all day long in a small setting. It'll just be 6 people and a live-in caregiver.
And how are you coming along with that?
Well, we're coming along great. We're looking for private investors who are looking for something that's a sure thing, and we know with the senior tsunami coming along, it's definitely a sure thing. And another wonderful element that we've added to the Almost Home process is my terrific architect, Jill Spey, who is building the home to the United States Green Building Council LEED certification. So it'll have solar panels, we'll do recycling, we'll have local materials, we'll have sustainable gardening, and some of the things overlap, you know, the sorting, and go back to their childhood where they saved tinfoil.
Well, you thought just about everything. I mean, I'm sure a few years ago you never gave this a second thought, did you?
No, but there wasn't any place for my dad, so I assume that there's plenty of people whose mom and dads don't have a place either, and we want to make one for them.
Well, I think the Almost Home is a wonderful idea. Congratulations on your story.
Thank
You're
you
one of
so
Hallmark's
much.
heroes. You can also find out more about Kathy's venture at hallmarkchannel.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back in a moment.